Welcome to the Chamber Chat Live podcast. I hope you'll find it both informational and entertaining. Hi, I'm Carol Knight, Director at the Encinitas Chamber of Commerce, and welcome to Chamber Chat Live. As climate change continues to impact the world, especially on coastal communities like Encinitas, it's vitally important that everyone, including business owners, do their part when it comes to sustainability and resilience. To tell us a little bit about what is being done in Encinitas and how you can get involved, I am pleased to have with me today from the City of Encinitas, Ryan Lampkin and Aoife Maxwell. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
So Ryan, tell me a little bit about your background and what you do for the city.
Yeah, so I am the Sustainability Management Analyst with the city, and I've been with Encinitas for about 2 years now. I started as a Civic Spark Fellow in Aoife's position, and in my role I do a lot of the planning and program development for sustainability.
And how did you get into this field?
Yeah, so I was in college and I was actually studying nursing at the time, and this was in 2020, so not the best time to be wanting to be a nurse. And then I thought back to high school and I had took AP Environmental Science, and I thought about how much I enjoyed that and how much of a need there was to, bring about change in the world. And so that's how I ended up doing sustainability, and I got my master's degree from Arizona State in sustainability leadership.
Wow, very impressive. And Aoife?
Amazing. So with the City of Encinitas, I'm their Civic Spark Fellow now, which is Ryan's old position. And with the city, I do a lot of community engagement, so at events and online engagement. And I also do a lot of reporting on all of the goals that we have in the Climate Action Plan and how the city is doing on each of those goals. And then a little bit of background on me is I'm originally from Ireland. I moved out here 4 years ago. So with environment and sustainability, a lot of that comes from my home and my passion with my community there and a community engagement too.
All right, so you call yourself a Civic Spark Fellow.
Yes.
What does that mean?
So that means there's a lot of us. There's about 112 of us, and we're all stationed across America. A lot of us are in California, and basically it's an AmeriCorps program where we help build capacity for local government, nonprofit, and government agencies. So it's an AmeriCorps program with them.
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. So now we'll get into a little bit of the details. Ryan, big picture, what is the City of Encinitas doing? I know there's a thing they call CAP, the Climate Action Plan. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so Encinitas, like many of the other cities in California and actually throughout the United States, have climate action plans. And so it's our roadmap for how we address climate change. And they're pretty meaty, dense documents with a lot of data and science, but they all outline specific steps that we take as the city to address climate change. And in Encinitas, our climate action plan is community-oriented. So
what does that mean?
Yeah, so if you, with companies, right, because there's many companies that are also taking climate action because they see the need and the importance of doing so, but their climate action plans are only focused on their company's operations. So for Encinitas, our climate action plan isn't just focused on the city's operations, it's focused on all of the activity that generates greenhouse gas emissions in the city and reducing those emissions and making them more sustainable. So our climate action plan dates back to 2011.
So it must be a fluid document, though,
yes.
because science and data, everything's always changing, right?
Right, and over time, we actually implement the things that are in the CAP, and we need to set more targets because, as we know, there's some extremely ambitious goals that are set with the science. We have to be by 2050 at net zero, according to the IPCC and the United Nations, and what all the scientists are telling us. So it's, like you said, ever evolving, and we're updating the document about every 5 years, including new greenhouse gas emission measures and targets. And those are in various areas like building decarbonization, getting natural gas consumption out of buildings because that's a fossil fuel, right? Making our transportation sector in Encinitas more sustainable with electric vehicles, encouraging biking, walking, public transit, all things like that. So yeah.
Wow, that is a big task.
Yes.
Yes.
So are there things as a business owner, and we'll get to the green certification a little bit, as a business owner, as it relates to the climate action plan specifically, that they should be keeping their eye out for or doing or talking to the city about?
Yeah, so we've tried to engage our business community on some of our building decarbonization measures specifically, because that would directly affect them. So we are aiming to, reduce natural gas consumption in larger buildings throughout the city. And so we've kind of communicated with the Building Industry Association, the NIOP group about, there are concerns about implementing some of these building decarb measures. So there are some, but I would say the plan really outlines incentives, and that's the biggest part that we focus on.
I was going to say, because some of this could be costly potentially.
Yeah, and I've been hearing this a lot lately, is we have a climate crisis and we have an affordability crisis. And so we need to think about how we can tackle both, and using incentives and making sure that electricity and it's affordable and makes sense to transition from fossil fuel to electric and renewable energy. And so, with our climate action plan, we outlined some incentives that the city would offer, and we also have a climate dashboard for the city. And Aoife, do you want to talk about the dashboard a little bit?
So with my role now, I'm kind of manning the dashboard for the previous year, 2024. But with the dashboard, it's like a super interactive site where you get to see how the city is doing on each of our goals that we set out in the CAP, which is amazing, because accountability and being transparent with the public is very important, especially when it comes to such a broad topic that does impact everyone in the community. With the climate action dashboard, you can see how we're doing in terms of measures, but then there's also a section of what can you do is there. And in that section, we have a lot of resources for people there that is updated with current rebates that are offered statewide, federal-wide, locally, which is a way that people can get involved with that, or different resources. And it does span across all of our different topics in the climate action plan. So if you're looking for ways for a resident to cut down on their water use, because water bills are expensive, or energy use for energy bills, there's top tips there, ways to cut down on that. Or for building decarb, that's a huge topic right now, decarbonization. There's ways on how to be a little bit more energy efficient, or our outline of our incentive program that we offer from the city of building decarbonization too, which is the Green Building Incentive Program. Ryan, you want to talk about that too?
Wait, I have a couple questions on the dashboard itself. So give me an example of what I could find. Could I find, and you said it's citywide, so could I find how much green gases the City of Encinitas is producing on the gas dashboard? Is that something
That's a great question. Yeah. So it does outline in our climate action plan, but we do have it on our dashboard too, our baseline inventory.
Okay.
So that's what we kind of compare a lot of our measures to, is to the baseline, is how we're doing against that. So for the 2020 climate action plan, which is the one that's published right now, our baseline is 2012. So you can see all the emissions that we have from the city for 2012 and how we're doing against that baseline year of how we're cutting down on those emissions. With a lot of the measures are a little bit difficult to measure because they're a little bit more subjective, and it's hard to exactly get a greenhouse gas reduction from those, but you can definitely see the baseline and how we're doing against that. With the update now that we're going through for the 2025 document, hopefully, the baseline year is 2016. So you'll see that the baseline of 2016 is less than the baseline of 2012 even. So those.
So you can see your progress.
Exactly.
Right, that's good. All right, and then going back to you. So if I'm a new business starting in Encinitas, whether I'm taking over a space or I'm doing my own space, when I go through this permitting process or even register my business, do I get those tips and those incentives from the get-go, or do I need to Because I'm always about, let's
You need
just
to
start
look
at the
for
very
them.
beginning. Do I need to look for them?
Yeah, so we actually been working recently to, anytime a business is registered in Encinitas or re-registers, they'll now get included in their kind of welcome packet with the city. It's more an email because, no paper.
You gotta practice what you preach.
Right. They get an email and it outlines some of our different incentives. One being the Green Business Network, which we have here in Encinitas. I don't know if you want to talk about that.
Yes, we can talk about that.
Okay.
Full disclosure, the Chamber has worked closely with the City of Encinitas on a green business certification. So I will let you guys take it from there. You guys have really been the cheerleaders and the champions of this program.
Yeah, so this has kind of been our way to bring the business community into the climate action plan and, get people excited about how businesses can be more sustainable and show them that it's easy to do so and it saves them money and they can get some recognition for doing it. And so this is a statewide program. It's the California Green Business Network, and we have our little sub-Encinitas specific Green Business Network here. And so businesses will submit a form and let us know that they're interested, and we'll do a walkthrough with their business actually, and we'll tell them what things they need to do to actually achieve this certification. So businesses may have to do some upgrades to their lighting fixtures. They may need to use some more environmentally friendly cleaning products, low flow toilets, things like that. And it can be really daunting at first to see the long list of measures, but we're here to hold their hand and show them where some of the incentives for actually satisfying those measures are. And then the hope is that they'll follow through and eventually get certified, and they have, it was cost effective to do so with the incentives, and that now, customers can see that this is a sustainable business. And then we recognize them at city council meetings, on our website. We did a ribbon cutting.
With the green business ribbon cutting ceremony, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And then a decal, a cling for their window too, if they have if they have a storefront. So I know that we did a green ribbon cutting for Solana Center. We also did one with the Endontics, Encinitas Endontics, which was a smaller medical, two totally different businesses. So really anything can be done. And I know there's some other green businesses in Encinitas.
Yeah, so there's one other, and that's Surf Dog Java Hut.
Okay.
And so, we've had several sign-ups since, and we're actually working on currently having some of our own city facilities certified as green businesses. Once again, practice what we preach, right? So we're working on getting Pacific View Art Center, the newest city facility, certified.
Yeah. Oh, that would be really neat.
Yeah.
And I think I did see that perhaps the Institute of Contemporary Art of Manchester is going to start pursuing some of those as well. Yeah, that's really exciting.
Yeah.
So if I was interested in that program, what would I do? What was my first step?
That's a great question. Our city website is a great resource. We have a whole page dedicated to the Green Business Network program, and on there it details like a step-by-step breakdown process. The first step is to get registered with Green Biz Tracker, which is the platform of how you check your checklist or how you can get certified. And that's the first step. And then after that, the Green Building Green Council will reach out, and then they'll offer free complimentary consulting. And it's a very hands-on process with that, of checking where you are as a business right now, with how you are with the checklist, and then they'll kind of walk you through what other requirements you might need to meet. So that's the first step. And then from there, they'll help you with any challenges you may face, and there'll be a final check. Then you'll be certified. And once you're certified, you're able to join the network after that.
Oh, I didn't realize that. You get to join the network. That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
So that's more... Well, it's a good thing to do, but then it's just more exposure for your business if I'm looking for a green business to patronize. And we work quite closely with Robert Carr at the Green Council, Green Network Council. Right? Is that the right name?
Green Building Council.
And he's really a great resource, and they really only want you to be successful. So they are trying to make it as easy as possible.
Exactly.
All right, so we are in a business park. The Chamber is in a business park. If we wanted to become green, there's probably some things that as a business and as a renter we couldn't do, or even as an owner we couldn't do, let's say HVAC or something like that. So I'm of the mindset every little bit helps, but what if I can't get the whole kit and caboodle?
that's a great question. With the checklist, you don't have to meet like every single requirement. There are a few items that are required. And it does change depending on what type of business you have, because like a city-owned facility is very different from a home office. You know, it offers a wide variety of different things. So for your own, it would be your unique checklist based on your type of business. There are some required ones, and then there's the electives that you get to choose on which ones that you make up for. So let's say, for example, if you didn't have one of the electives might be like a HVAC system. If you didn't have that, but you had a great like transportation system for your employees, that you could kind of like switch it around in that way, counter it.
Yeah.
The required ones, you do have to meet those, but with the electives, you do have a little bit more space there on how you.
Oh, that's good. That's nice that you're flexible, because some you just don't have an option, but then you might be doing doing something else.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask again, because hopefully it's like the what we were just talking about. So when I'm applying as a new business, is it part of the permitting process that you can right away, or you're trying to get to the point where they say, why don't you just become a green business from the beginning?
Yeah, so they get the, like I was saying, it was like they get an
welcome
email
letter
to them. Yeah, and
so it's part of that material?
Yeah. It's, we're not trying to say right off the bat, like, you need to get certified.
Right.
It's all voluntary and free program for businesses. And we're really just trying to encourage businesses to get certified, pursue it, try it out. And the good thing about it is, like I said, it's free for one thing. And then also if, they find out that this isn't for them, because we understand like running a business takes so much capacity. And if, they're strapped for time and they maybe want to pursue this at a later date and they realize there's a lot more to it, they can totally do that. So it's not like once you sign up, you're committed to doing it.
And it doesn't have to necessarily be completed during a certain time frame.
Exactly.
Again, as businesses grow, businesses change, maybe relocate or something like that. We do have some surrounding towns that are doing some of the same things with their businesses. Vista? Carlsbad?
Yes.
La Mesa?
Yep.
All of the above,
All of the above, right? So that would be neat. I mean, if we could get even like the coastal communities or, the greater San Diego communities to join up, that would be huge.
Yeah, and Carlsbad's program has been around for years, and theirs is very developed, and there's, I think, 50 green businesses in Carlsbad.
Wow.
And so, we're trying to replicate that here in Encinitas because that's all what our community is about, really into being environmentally conscious. So, we think in the next few years we can replicate that and be like Carlsbad.
Is there a goal of how many businesses that you want to have by 2027, let's say?
We don't have that goal. We've been talking about including the Green Business Network in the Climate Action Plan because it's not right now.
Interesting.
And it's kind of like Aoife was talking about. It's just with something like that, we can't like say this will reduce this many greenhouse gas emissions, but it's something that we can include as
still makes an impact.
Definitely makes an impact. So.
And then does the City of Encinitas benefit, beyond the obvious benefits of being a greener, more sustainable, resilient city, statewide or countywide or nationally, if we have green businesses in our community? Is there any benefit to Encinitas?
Not that I know of. I know our business owners who are certified can participate in the statewide Green Business Network and have those benefits. As the city, we don't necessarily benefit. But I know there's an annual Green Business Network conference that takes place. And I think that actually was either next week or a few days ago, one of the two, in San Francisco this year. And so, that happens every year. And all of our certified businesses can definitely partake in that. So.
All right, so we're talking a lot about greenhouse gases and natural gas and things like that. I mean, we have an ocean at our back door. So are there things that residences, but businesses too, or things that we should be thinking about as it relates to the ocean, rising water and clean water and all that?
Yeah, climate adaptation is definitely important, and it's only going to become more important as the years go on. So in our climate action plan, that's one of the chapters. And we did a whole study, and we found that by the end of the century, by 2100, various, like weather events and natural disasters are expected to increase in Encinitas, as you might expect. So, we're expecting to see more sea level rise, more wildfires, more flooding and inundation that we see in the city. And so, adapting to climate change is vitally important. And so our division, one of the ways that we adapt is kind of like you're saying with the ocean. We have a coastal zone management program. And so our team works on, getting sand on the beaches. And that makes us more resilient to rising sea levels and storms because so if we didn't have the sand there, right, these large waves that are crashing against our bluffs are going to erode them much faster than if we have a large, wide, sandy beach.
Yes.
And so we've done several projects over the years, like our Cardiff Living Shoreline project, our U.S. Army Corps of Engineers project, and we're constantly pursuing funding to actually do these projects because that's what it always comes down to is the money to do it. So
I mean, as a resident, of course, I want sand on the beach. There was a time where you couldn't walk Moonlight or DC without stepping on stones. But really, I mean, and that's what a lot of people just think about is having a nice sandy beach. But I don't think the underlying reason to have sand on the beach is to help with some of this. Yeah,
to add to that, I feel like the great thing about climate action is there's so many co-benefits to all these things that we do. And I always say, even if climate change is fake, if you want to believe that, at the end of the day, there's so many benefits that come with climate change. You can't tell me that poor air quality isn't real, right? You can see when you go to LA, the smog there. So if we convert to electric vehicles, we're not going to have that smog. If we plant trees, they're going to take carbon out of the atmosphere. They're also going to make our community look more beautiful. So, I think that's a great thing. There's so many co-benefits to the things that we're hoping to do with climate action.
Right. All right. And so beyond circling back to the green business, which is all good, I know there's an effort for zero waste as well, which sounds very daunting. So do you want to speak to that, Aoife?
Yeah, sure. So right now with the outreach, there's a huge effort, particularly with businesses, of that whole brand of zero waste, because it is daunting to think, zero waste. That's like a huge accomplishment that we're trying to have. And there's a few different ways that the city is trying to combat that and to be there with businesses. One of those is the business waste program that we have. That's mainly managed by our zero waste team, and also I Love a Clean San Diego, which is like a local nonprofit. They team up together to offer like a free consultation to businesses of seeing where they can implement zero waste programs, where they can increase the recycling, organics recycling, which is just compost, and where they can have that in place. So that's a really great program. That also does include like up to $500 in signage, bins, or containers for restaurants. So with restaurants, they have a huge potential to become zero waste with a little bit fewer steps. So the first focus is really mainly on restaurants because the impact would be so large if they were zero waste, because they go through a lot of materials when people are coming in. So with that, there's kind of two main ways that they can really do that in an efficient way. And the first way is to consider using a little bit more reusable items. Like if they're a sit-down place, to consider using like baskets or other items. And all of that is on our city website of like a cost breakdown of those items. Businesses can go on there and see how much it would cost. Or even just reframing the focus on the landfill bin, where businesses can really lean into blue bins, recycling bins, or green organic recycling bins. Because if a business was to use fiber compostable products, they could really maybe not even have a landfill bin to customers exposed if it's a to-go restaurant. When you walk in and you have your item and it's a compostable fiber, which I'll get into that if we want, because that's a whole topic.
You sound like loaded
That's a whole topic in and of itself right now. Is like which material is actually compostable.
Because a lot of them say they are, but it's like the little things, not everywhere.
Exactly.
Or not really.
Exactly. And there's the whole bioplastic discussion as well. So let's say if a restaurant was to make that transition to fiber-based compostable products, and a customer walked in and they ordered their item, they eat it there, they don't really need a landfill bin. You know,
Right.
they can put all of that into the organic bin. And their like water cup in the recycling bin, and that's it. You know, instead of focusing on just having that one landfill bin, we can really increase that recycling through that.
Right.
Yeah.
It's such a mind shift for not only the business owner, but the consumer.
Exactly.
I mean, we've all been to places where the recycling bin's there and the trash is there and the green waste is there and everything just ends up in one. And I don't know if it's, not to be mean, laziness or in Encinitas it can't be because you don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that's we've been on the leading edge, I think. I mean, the fact that my residential trash is the smallest. And then it's recycling and then it's the green waste.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
we've really, personally, our footprint has come down quite a bit.
Yeah.
Especially
And it
with the
can be
addition of
done.
that
Yeah.
organic green waste bin. Yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and it can be done. It's really just that mind shift change away from the landfill whenever you can, which once you change a few things, you really can do it. And I think signage is so key too.
Oh, right.
You know,
Yeah.
when you, like, because it is kind of confusing, because each kind of hauler is different. Like Edco is our hauler, and they can't compost some materials, but other haulers can. So there's a little bit of confusion out there around
Right.
all of that.
Right.
So I think the key again is going back to outreach with the community.
Outreach, education, signage. And I agree,
Exactly.
because of these, you know, if I owe Rico's Taco Shop, I don't really want to have to be telling my guests where to put their trash
Yes,
or
yeah.
in what bin. So if you had clear signage, I think that would
Exactly.
would be helpful.
Yeah.
Well, lots of good steps you guys are
Yes.
making. All right, and then I know we have a EcoFest coming up on June 1st, and it's at the community park.
Yes.
Okay.
Encinitas Community Park. So that's going to be a very fun event. It's a free event for anyone's welcome. You don't have to be an Encinitas resident. It's actually the longest running environmental fair in North County
Well,
of
how
San
about
Diego.
that?
So, and we're really excited for that one. It's going to be packed with lots of different fun activities. There'll be more than 80 eco-friendly vendors there. Also some local delicious food. If you want to go and learn a little bit more about how to live sustainably in a cost-friendly way and in a fun way, definitely attend. And there's also activities for everyone there. There's some really fun eco art exhibits for kids. There'll be live music, and there'll be activities for adults too. So yeah.
And will you guys be there
Yep.
representing us? So if I wanted to delve a little deeper,
Yes. If you
could.
have any questions or you want to learn a little bit more about anything, we'll be there. Yeah.
That's fantastic. All right, anything else you want to add? And then I'm going to ask you to say if people want more information on what they can do to be more sustainable and resilient, if you have a website or want to direct them anywhere.
Anything you want to add, Brian?
I don't think so.
I think we covered everything we wanted to.
Oh, good,
Yeah.
good. It was such a pleasure to have you. So where can people go for more information?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For more information, they could go to www.encinitasca.gov/climate-action, and they can find all of our divisions' different initiatives and programs, and also the incentives that we have and that some of our external partners have. So
Yeah. And also a good way to keep up to date with everything is to follow just the city's socials. So the city's Instagram, Facebook, X now, not Twitter, and our weekly newsletter as well. So we have all the big initiatives in there too.
All right, good. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. It was very educational, and I'm really pleased that it seems like Encinitas is on the leading edge when it comes to addressing climate change.
Yes.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Carol. Thank you.